All right, hello, hello. We are live here with Eric Cruz.
We're live.
I'm in the voice in the
Yeah,
background,
what's going on, Kuya?
chilling,
Did you
chilling.
already, did you already run the little intro thing? Did we get rid
No,
of that little intro thing?
yeah, I just found it. I found it better just to start it without it. And I think if we do the intro thing, we can do it again. But I took it out just because um, I don't know. I just find this a lot better just to start the video, show the scenery, and
Oh yeah, it's fine with me.
go from there. I
You're
mean,
wondering what I'm doing? I'm peeling garlic right now,
all right, guys,
and
he's
I didn't
peeling
smash
garlic.
this. I didn't smash this one enough. Stem is being a pain to get on. So we're already chatting before.
Yeah.
You had a regular weekend. Everything busy, normal
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah, I went to Sophia's parents' house. Sophia left the day before, and part of the reason is because I'm working on that game. We're already 4 days behind. Um, like bugs up the wazoo, but that's kind
Sounds
of the
about right.
that sounds about right, exactly. So I had my partner in it. Um, Today we had a meeting to look up a bug that one of the scripts that I wrote, and I told him like I don't know how to fix it. So, but he looked at it and he was like, "Oh, it's a little complex looking." It's like, "Oh no, it's clean. Don't worry, it's clean. We made it clean."
Hmm.
But anyway, I've been dedicating a lot of hours to that, and gonna try to do
Sure.
some of it today as well. But other than that,
So what's
a great Father's Day, and very chill.
Yeah, that's right. Happy not Daddy Day. I told you the other day. Where's Randall been at? Have you heard from Randall? Did he fall
No,
off? Is he just back being busy? What's he doing?
yeah, he's probably just chilling on Monday. This is his day off, so I'm guessing wants to chill for a little bit, hang out.
Randall goes City. That's fine.
Yeah.
I still love him, but all
So
right. So if you're wondering and you didn't see, we're making Lomo Saltado. Why are we making this, Kuya? Because
because
it was a random idea. No, that's not one.
yeah, we can make it.
We had this. Well, at least I had it a bunch of times when we were traveling through Peru. So it was a pretty big staple there. Best way to describe it is like a Peruvian stir fry would
Mm-hmm.
probably be the best way to describe it. So some of the key crap I didn't get out the onions. I gotta get something.
That's right. I can talk about the cooking tools. So the cooking tools that you need is a kitchen knife, which is similar to what he's using right now. Saute pan, 10 inches in diameter, probably more if you'd like. Cutting board, small bowl, and measuring cup, tablespoon, and a teaspoon.
That's about it. Pretty simple. A little bit of chopping, a little bit of prep work. So if you were to like look up recipes, you'd see a couple different ways to make it. Some say parsley, some say cilantro. I'm going with the cilantro because I think it just adds more flavor to a dish anyways. And I don't have the gene that makes cilantro taste disgusting to me. I like the taste of cilantro, so that's what I'm going with. I like garlic, so I'm adding a little garlic in here. And most of the recipes will call for French fries. So, and that's done because they all look like French fries, but if you're in Peru, they aren't really for a lot of places, if you're at like a decent place for dinner, like they aren't putting French fries in there. They are technically French fries, but they're hand cut, like handmade French fries. Like Peru has like 4,000 types of potatoes up in the Andean mountains between like Ecuador down into Peru. They have basically like every potato type you could ever imagine, ever. So it's a staple in everything. Like you were telling me when you're down there, like you were kind of getting a little sick of it. You're like, no, I don't want more French fries with every single meal that I go out to dinner for. But it's honestly, it's legit. Like every meal that you're going out for, like lunch and dinner, everything comes with papas fritas. Like everything, every time. Like always, doesn't matter. You're at a Chinese food restaurant there
Yeah,
in
you're gonna get
Ecuador,
fries.
Peru. You get regular, you get regular Chinese food, and then you get papas fritas with it and stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, it's funny.
So,
It's funny. When I went to a few of the restaurants, because you obviously have to eat. Well, you don't have to eat every day, but eat every day. And one place I was like, "Hey, can I replace the fries with just rice?" And the guy looked at me like I had like 4 heads. He was like, "No, no puedo, no puedo." I was like, "What do you mean you can't just substitute the fries for just
you
rice?"
ruin everything. You can't do that. You ruin it.
So I was like, you know what? I'll just have it with whatever. No big deal.
All right. So in light of that, instead of using just like regular French fries, I'm actually going to roast some quick potato wedges here. So you see those? So those are Japanese yams. So it looks like this actually a little bit.
So kind of like
the ones that I cut up were a bit bigger than that, but that's called the Japanese yam. It actually is in the yam family, which is, a little different than potato, but you're still going to get the same thing. These actually roast up. They're pretty sweet, not as sweet as like a sweet potato. They hold a little bit more firmness like a roasted potato, whereas your sweet potatoes start to get really soft. These actually still stay a little firm. They get a nice kind of sweetness to them. They're like my favorite starch roasted up right now. So all I did before was I chopped up a couple of them. This is probably a little over a pound. It calls for about a pound, but I have a bit more steak and everything because I'm making this for hopefully get like 2 or 3 meals out of this pretty easy. Tonight and the next couple nights rather than having to cook everything each night. Little olive oil, little salt and pepper, nothing crazy. I'm just going to toss these on a sheet pan and they're going in the oven because we need those done before we can toss them in. So we're going to get those in now. Oven's already preheated, 400. These will probably be about 20 minutes or so each side at the most. That should be plenty. If you were using regular French fries, you would just follow the recipe on the back of your bag of French fries or whatever if you want. You can slice up some regular potatoes and you can fry them on the stovetop, however you like. Obviously, the better the French fry, the better it's going to be in the dish. I think those Japanese yams roasted up are going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I want to point out an interesting thing here. In Peruvian cuisine, there's actually a lot of influence from Asian food. So you get things like the saltado, and then also for things like the ceviche, there's a lot of influence on the Japanese cuisine side of things. So some of it's prepared in the manner. So like Peru already has their version of ceviche, but when the Japanese immigrated to Peru,
just grab an onions, Kuya.
Yeah, that's fine. So when they immigrated to Peru, helped kind of change some of the ingredients and the methods of how they prepared those other dishes like ceviche. So similar in this context as well with saltado, where there's soy sauce that's added, and it's very interesting that it is, to me, I consider a Peruvian style stir fry because essentially that's what it is.
It's really what it is. One of the things that you want to note is you'll see some recipes that call for it. So there's gonna be like a distilled white wine vinegar. So if you're looking at the ingredients, it's about a 1/4 cup distilled white wine vinegar, and then a dash to a 1/4 teaspoon of soy sauce, depending on how much soy sauce. I like a little bit of soy sauce, so I put a couple nice heavy dashes in there. Some call for you to throw it when you're actually doing the stir fry. I'll go over this when we start actually cooking. I actually have the steak tips already sliced up into stir fry. I actually have them marinating right now for about 30 minutes in the soy sauce with the vinegar to try and get some of that flavor into the meat. Then we'll sear that up, and then I'll add that extra juice and everything into the stir fry dish once it's just the vegetables and everything. Probably put like a dash more of the soy sauce and stuff. But I wanted to get it a little bit into the meat.
Now, is this the first time you're making Lomo Saltado?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is going to be the first time that I had it since we were on our trip.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it comes out. I had it like twice at, like a regular kind of place. And then I had it once at that like fancy place up on the hill up on Cusco. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, that place is. Oh, what's
Yeah,
what's
it
the
was
name of
over
that
in
place?
like the Bohemian district kind of area
Yeah, I like that
of Cusco.
area. I like that.
Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful. Like the streets started getting like real, just kind of windy. The cobblestones were kind of everywhere. You had like the winding streets with the little like rolling hills up and everything. It was actually kind of like movie picturesque, those streets over there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stairs to go up, so it's quite an exercise to go from like the main
Oh
part
yeah,
of Cusco and then go to this spot. But it's absolutely beautiful. Like this. Um,
better. Yeah. So if I was going, which I've already had, now that we're starting to plan everything, I already had like thoughts earlier this week. I was like, I could definitely do like a month or two in the mountains up in Cusco, staying up there,
mm.
just renting a place. Um,
Oh
I
yeah.
would definitely try to be over in that district. So I
Oh
could do
yeah.
that. That would be easy. I wouldn't even have to do anything or meet anybody. Just getting up there, just getting up and being able to like go for coffee up there in that area and hang out there. I'd be content for 2 months straight doing nothing but that.
Well, just even the elevation is just it's a nice. I don't know. There's something just about elevation. I think even 5,000 feet, and then you get into the eight to 9,000. I don't know. There's always this kind of elation that comes from being at that high elevation all the time. And then the weather is quite temperate too. It's not like if you get direct sunlight, it's
Yeah, it gets a little hot.
it gets hot. But the minute you're in the shade, it's cool. Like it's very
Oh
cool.
yeah.
So there's a stark contrast between what the temperature is like when you have direct light, and it's actually forceful. You don't want to be out in the sun, even though the weather might feel kind of cool, but because the atmosphere is not as thick over there, you're getting like you're just getting straight sunlight. So the possibility of getting sunburned is actually very high. Um, uh, Up there. I mean, even when we went hiking, it was like it'd be cold out and you'd have to kind of cover up a little bit
Oh,
because
you're
if you
sweating.
get
You're getting sun.
yeah, you're getting sun. Sure.
Yeah, I guess I had to keep my bald head covered, or like at least keep it sunscreened up. It was getting a lot of rays on there.
Yeah. So
But
I
yeah,
know.
no, we were talking about what we wanted to cook, and getting ready to kind of kick off. The last trip we were on was that one, so I thought it was a pretty appropriate dish. Um, no, obviously, just like a ton of other things there, Peru, Ecuador, everything served with rice. I didn't make any rice because I didn't want the extra starch, but that would kind of be the staple that you would serve this with.
Yeah.
Uh,
And keep in
but
mind
for me, go ahead.
yeah,
What's up?
keep in mind with the thumbnail. That was actually a picture that I took from one of the restaurants that we ate at, the Lomo Saltado.
Video just cut. Nope. Are you back? Sort of.
Oh, it cut out
There you
just
go.
a little bit.
Yeah, it's all right. So what restaurant was that from?
That was the first day we went walking. We dropped off our bags at the hostel, and we are like, oh, let's look for a place. We're just walking around, and they had like the mattress district, and they had like, do you remember that? It was like you walk by, and it would just be like a district of just this one thing. And then
So do they do that in Ecuador?
they sort of do that in Ecuador too. Like it's
All
not
right, so
as
Ecuador, Peru. I don't know about the other places, but like they group the same store in like areas. So like you'll be walking and it'll just be like everybody in the city that's selling mattresses are all in this one little area. They all sell mattresses. This is like the mattress district. We went to when we were walking around Lima, the music district.
yeah,
It was just
all music.
I'm not even kidding when I say there was 500 music stores, all selling instruments. Just one. This whole area, and you didn't see another one in the rest of the city.
Yeah,
It was like this is where music instruments are sold.
yeah, and that was in the center of town near like their city hall. It was like fairly
Yeah,
close. It was like in that rotary area.
yeah, that was a beautiful area. That was that whole Spanish colonial area.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, Peru definitely does that because when Sophia and I were
Yeah,
walking, through Lima.
That's a little habanero. So I'll start going over ingredients in a minute. I'm just finishing a tiny little bit of prep. So normally this wouldn't be in here. Normally you'd use the ají amarillo, which is the Peruvian yellow chile. And you can actually get it in a paste. I couldn't find it. I'm assuming it's out. Not that like it's a hot commodity, but it's not like the best supply chain times right now, of course. So I'm substituting this habanero. I'm not using this whole thing. Like I like a little bit of zip, but like this one habanero in this size dish would be
a zap.
Kind of. Yeah, I'm good. I don't like if you like a lot of zest, put it in there, but at least keep a bit of the chili flavor. It's the it was the closest that I had available for it. I'm probably gonna use like a quarter of this thing. Like I don't need to be sweating while I eat this. I'm making sure I'm done chopping everything before I chop this and wash my hands. Otherwise, you watch me have an incident on camera, touch my eye or something.
Yeah, you don't want to touch your eyes.
No, the video's over if I touch my eye with that.
And that's a cilantro right there.
This is cilantro. This is a terrible bunch of cilantro. But unfortunately, that's what I had to deal with this week. It wasn't the finest of products. So I'm going to break off. I'm going to do in this, I like a little bit of cilantro. I'm going to chop this up. That's a hefty bunch. Probably be about a tablespoon. I'll end up using of that. Ripped a little more than I wanted. Cilantro, just like parsley, it always comes in this huge bunch. I don't think once I've ever actually used a whole bunch of either of those at home. One, they go bad super fast. And like two, like how many dishes with cilantro are you going to make in like a week or two? You're just on an absolute Mexican kick or something and maybe you'd get through it.
Yeah, I always found that kind of strange that cilantro is like, they give so much of it that it's so hard to like incorporate it in so many different foods. I know I ran into that problem when I was in the U.S.
There's a massive bunch, yeah, but that's what we got. So we'll just waste the rest of it, I'm assuming. Just like, what else are you going to do with it? Throw it in the compost. So you actually flying? What's going on?
Yes, everything's a go. I had one flight change, but it was only just moving the flight half an hour later. Fine. But I'm supposed to be arriving July 1st, which is maybe shouldn't have said the exact date, but that's this live video. Anyway, so I arrived July 1st. Trying to lock in an apartment or at least a room for a couple of months. I'm in contacting people on Craigslist. I'm having a little bit of luck, so hopefully.
Where are you looking? Like near home, or what are you doing?
Yeah, trying to stay within the South Coast area because I need to pick up like
just see the fam and this and that.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna quarantine myself for 14 days regardless if I arrive. I think it's just I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but just taking precautions for stuff. So I'm not gonna see any family or friends for
the international.
Yeah. So, but from what I've heard, or what I know of, the traveling situation is not that bad as far as getting into the U.S. More specifically, if being a U.S. citizen, but the international travel thing is
still frowned upon.
Yeah, it's like it's not going to be an easy. It's not going to be an easy, go to, and it's Sophia's family was asking me about like, oh, when are you coming back? I'm like, I don't even know because I'm already past my visa.
You can't. You can't go back. They won't let you in.
Yeah, again, I don't know. So it's one of those things where I'm just trying to play it by ear.
So yeah, the last I just looked was basically like no for all those countries, all the stretch there, like no non-citizens, nobody was being let in.
Yeah,
unless it was like humanitarian efforts.
Yeah. So in that way, like I said, I personally think that a lot of the international travel that I originally planned is just it's not happening.
This
Oh,
year?
yeah, I just or it's gonna be limited. Like I don't anticipate that that places are gonna have the borders open. I mean, I keep up to date with the group that I belong to in Facebook that live, or travel to Ecuador. So they're actually very good about like, oh yeah, you come in, they do the test or you have to have tests done before you show up and all that kind of stuff. And then you have to quarantine for a little bit and then you're okay.
It's about a quarter of a habanero. And I'm putting the rest of this away. I'm out of here. I'm done with this. All right, we ready to start cooking?
Sure. So if anyone who's watching who has any questions, feel free to ask us. Or if you have any comments, feel free to drop a line in the comments section. And yes, definitely go to Peru and do the Machu Picchu 5-day trip, a 5-day hike, I should say.
Yeah. That's like the absolute mandatory. Like if you're going there for anything, that's the only thing you want to do. Honestly, depending on how much time you have, don't even stop in Lima unless you have to land there just for a connector. Jump up and go right over to Cusco. That whole area up there, just relaxing and going around, you can spend weeks just up in that area.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just Cusco alone, it's a beautiful area. Just the city itself, it's got a lot of rich history. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of the high mountain.
It's not
like how remote Cusco is, in Peru, and then like if you're coming from Lima and then you're flying to Cusco, there's not a lot out there. It's like you might see like pockets of villages or small cities, but it's very remote, which makes it like very interesting in itself. It's like it's just this one spot where there's a conjugation of a lot of people there, and it's a great spot for just to explore. And the tours are very cheap too. The Rainbow Mountain tour was pretty awesome. Cruise was very thick. Yeah, it was 30.
I think the Rainbow Mountain tour was like 30. So if you can get it easily between $30 to $40, and the tour is probably 6 to 7 hours total. I would say between they pick you up and everything. Was it longer?
Yeah, no, it was like a 3-4 hour drive each way. So
it was probably like, yeah, you know what? The whole thing was probably about 8 hours then.
Yeah. Well, and they fed us.
They gave you a simple breakfast. They gave you a simple like lunch buffet after. They drove you there, drove you back up. Like for a whole day for that, that's great. That's a great deal.
Mm. And one of the things I want to point out too. So even when you're going up to Rainbow Mountain, there's some areas that like you go through like towns. So after you get out of Cusco, it gets pretty remote and you start getting into like the villages area. The road that goes to Rainbow Mountains, there's a good portion of it. It's just dirt road.
Yeah.
like the way it goes, like the way the bus went to Rainbow Mountains, it was like this dirt road off of the main road to get into the village. And then you go into these villages, and you're like, oh crap, like this is like not in the main area.
No. It was yeah, it's up there in the mountains. It's pretty good. It's awesome. I'd go back. I wish I was there right now. It's unbelievable.
Would you, so if you went back to Cusco, would you actually do Rainbow Mountains again? You know what? I can see you going over there just to train. Like, all right, yo, I'm gonna go put on some sandals and run up and down.
Oh, if I went back and I was there for like 2 months, my goal would be to sprint up Rainbow Mountain. Like that would be my goal in my training. I would definitely. So I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but it was the mother and daughter from Germany. Remember, she said she had already been there in Peru for a while, and like her and her boyfriend had done the other hike,
Yeah.
that was a bit more kind of remote. They were still uncovering these ruins that they feel are actually like older than the Machu Picchu ones, and you kind of got to do a lot on your own. Like you're carrying a lot of your own stuff in and a lot of your own stuff out. I would absolutely want to do that, along with maybe doing like the Inca Trail. There was some other stuff down in the south of Peru that you can get to pretty easily, like the Titipan Islands from up there. And then even up in like northern Peru, that's actually one of the like the highest and most difficult hikes. Some of the Andes Mountains up there, which is supposed to just be gorgeous. You know, these lakes, the glaciers, everything, just unbelievable. You could just do stuff there for months, just in just one country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just crazy, crazy, crazy. There's not enough time. Like I had to see all the stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, it was definitely, like I said, it's tough to describe like how amazing everything was. If the only way that anyone would ever understand is like to actually be there and feel the pain of the hiking, but also feel kind of like the reward through the process. It was like the tour group, Jose, the guy's name I think was Jose, our guide.
Yeah, one sec, curious. So I got about a tablespoon of oil heating up here in the pan. So I have the steak tips, which have been marinating. They've been cut, stripped them. A little vinegar, the soy sauce. We're just gonna sear these up. Yeah, that's fine. So instead of using a regular just frying pan, I'm actually using my Le Creuset. It's like a Dutch oven. It's great for frying. I already knew there was going to be a bit more in this, so it gives me a little bit of a higher side for me to be able to kind of stir stuff in and add as much as we need to.
So anyone who's on right now, if you're listening, whether you're driving or anything like that, or watching the videos, does anyone have any experience with going to Peru or anything like that? If you have experience, I know a few friends have visited Rainbow Mountain, things like that. Um, so I want to know what you guys think, or maybe you can recommend some certain places. That would be great too.
Yeah, if anything out there has like a prime destination, because the second international opens up,
oh,
I'm out of here.
yeah. Well, the good thing is, so you're flying out to Denver, right?
Yeah.
In mid July, and it's going to be a good test run to get a feel for, like, okay, here's the digital nomad lifestyle. I hate saying that, but it is what it is, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty cheesy. I'm not really a fan of that terminology, but it is technically correct. All right, so these are starting to brown up. They've been in there about 20 minutes. Timer just went off. Just giving them a little flip.
So this will be very interesting because you're using uh, Japanese yam, and it's going to add a little bit more sweetness, and I think it's going to be a nice little balance between the habaneros. And it looked like you actually used quite a bit of the habaneros. I was actually kind of surprised because you did like about half.
You'll know on my first bite how much habanero I use. It's not going to be a secret. No, I don't think there's that much in there. It'll be fine.
Now, are you going to use the oil that's in the pan right now as part of the whole sauce mix? How are you putting this together?
I will. So right now, we're just searing up the meat a bit. Probably a couple more minutes with this, and once this is got a little bit of brown to it, we're going to take out the meat. We're going to set that aside. Now, everything that's in there, which is going to be a bit of the vinegar, the soy sauce, a little bit of juice in the meat, we're going to use this pan. We're going to
Oh, we lost a little bit of connection there. Hopefully, it jumps back.
bit before I add the onions, because we do want to sear up the onions. Once those get a little bit of brown, we'll add in our tomatoes. So right now we have, for ingredients, we have 1 large onion, red, sliced up there. 3 about medium-sized tomatoes there. So a lot of times you'll see them where they'll say peel them and de-seed them. I'm fine with the skins and the seeds. I didn't feel like going through that extra step, honestly. Peeling tomatoes is actually kind of a pain in the butt. And it does nothing for me. So I'm leaving them on and I'm throwing them in there. So feel free to do the same. And what we have here is our chopped garlic, which we're going to end up using about a tablespoon of the garlic. And that's a little bit, see, that's not that much habanero. I don't know. We'll see. That stuff's really spicy.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Like that's a lot of habanero.
Hey,
but maybe just like a little bit more.
I like a little zip, but I don't want to die. So.
So they changed the equipment here. I told you about that, right? They changed the router.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like in a mixed bag with it because we've had more instances where the internet dropped here than before. So I don't know. Maybe it's just it's early phase migration into the new equipment. Routing their systems into the ISP stuff. I'm not really sure, but it's definitely not as good as the previous one. That could all
Really?
be different over time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Man.
Yeah. And I'll share a little bit more about that when I head back to the U.S. and then. But until then, it's just really. Yeah, I'll talk about that. You'll know why.
Sure. Yeah. Understood.
Okay, so what were other dishes that you liked in in Peru?
Some of the other dishes that I liked? That's a good question. The sangucheria that we went to, which was that sandwich shop in Lima, they served that the big rack of chicharrones. That was unbelievable. El Toque Paz, which was actually also in Lima, served like this. It was like a fresh, right there, made to order seafood fried rice. So there was like a little bit of shrimp, a little bit of squid in there, done fresh made fried rice, served with their style ceviche on the side. That was an absolutely unbelievable meal. It was just like light, but just had so much flavor. They had the Inca corn in the ceviche there. That, and then we had the big the purple corn chicha. That was a great meal.
Yeah, my favorite was definitely that and the salsa that we had at that food stall place. I took a picture of the place
That's right.
And I was actually trying to plan to ride a bike, but it was 21 miles north into this like other part or just outside of Lima, and just never got around to doing it. But I really wanted to because it was like hands down the best salsa I ever had in my life. It was like the perfect amount of spicy. It was like it had a little bit of the sour flavor in it because of the lemons or whatever they use. They might use vinegar.
You're talking about like the pineapple salsa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was when we were just walking around. That was unbelievable. So I added, I drained out. There was a little bit extra juice here, which was fine, but it's a little tough to sear stuff up with that little bit extra. So I got rid of a little bit of the juice.
Yeah.
So
So
there's a lot of brown on the pan. It's going to add a lot of flavor here, and we're just going to sear up these onions right now.
yeah.
Add a little bit more olive oil, this vegetable oil.
Okay. So quick question here from Penny Pincher: could you substitute the distilled vinegar with lemon, or is the vinegar better?
Vinegar is going to add a lot more flavor. It's a white vinegar, just for making it. The lemon's going to really change that's going to change the profile on it. Because you think on this dish we're using about a quarter cup of the vinegar, and when that gets cooked off, it still has that vinegar flavor, but it's not quite the same. Whereas lemon, I mean, you're gonna taste just lemon throughout the dish. That would change the profile on the entire dish.
Yeah, I always find like with vinegar, it tends to sweeten up a little bit when you cook it.
It
Um,
will.
whereas like and so that's a good thing to point out too. Um, so you're using vinegar, and it's very similar to the type of stir fry that like Asian made stir fry, they would use vinegar. But in Ecuador, if they make a stir fry, or they don't use a lot of vinegar, they actually use a lot of lemon. And part of the reason is the sourness. Um, but again, the lemons here that you think are lime, they're they're much sweeter. So again, it'd be one of those things. It would make sense to experiment with it because, like I said, it's a different cooking style. I know for a lot of Filipino dishes, they use a lot of vinegar, but like you taste the vinegar, but it's lighten when you cook it. It lightens um, the sour flavor. And then here in Ecuador, they don't use as much vinegar, but they use lemons to add flavor. Like for instance, yesterday, Sophia's mother made uh, pork ribs, and it was made
Okay.
with oranges, um, and it's like you could barely tell it was oranges. It was really good. Actually, there's some in the fridge. After after the video, I'm actually gonna go eat that.
So I noticed having a couple dishes down there of the Lomo Saltado that they didn't cook down the onions too much.
Mm,
Like they still have a bit of texture to them. Uh, I'm actually probably going to caramelize mine down a little more than they traditionally do,
mm.
only because that's what I prefer a little bit in my dish. So if I was going to keep it as authentic as I remember it, I would stop right now. But I'm going to keep cooking just these onions for a little bit more.
Yeah, that's actually kind of true throughout because I stayed very long in Lima, um, or I stayed in Peru for 4 months, and definitely had lomo saltado in a lot of places. And the way that Cruz is describing the onions is definitely true. Like they don't cook it as much, or they don't caramelize it. And it still has more of a pop, so you get that really onion flavor. Which is if I were to make it for myself, I would actually do the same thing that you're doing. I do like caramelized onions. But the other way is totally fine as well.
All right, so that's just a little bit more. So I'm going to stop now. Now we're going to add our tomatoes, and we're going to get these to just start letting out a little bit of juice, get them seared up a little bit. Actually going to add the garlic at this time as well.
So cooking the onions first because they take a little bit longer, and then the garlic is going to take longer than the other stuff, correct? And then you're going to add
Yeah,
the
the
other
tomatoes
ingredients.
you don't want to cook down too much. They'll start to break up.
Actually, what would be really good with this is garlic fried rice, like Filipino style. Oh, with a lomo saltado. Woo, woo.
Nice.
And that's one of the things too. Like when I cook very rarely, like with Sophie here in Ecuador, I cook a lot of garlic. So I roast the garlics till they're like nice and golden brown, and
So this is just a little salt and pepper mix there. I'm just going to add a little salt and pepper in.
Now, was that a mix that you made, like pre-made, or was it something that you bought in the store?
It was actually a random gift.
Mm. Like kind of like a Christmas gift, like you get the box set and it has like a summer sausage and then
Pretty much, yeah.
some mustard and then salt, pepper. Like I don't know anyone who would just randomly buy summer sausage. Maybe that might be me.
Randomly buy what?
Like summer sausage, like like said those like packages that have like the
Oh,
mustard,
yeah.
the sausages. Like the only time
No.
anyone ever buys it or receives or has it is when like during the holidays. Like, oh,
Absolute
I got
gift.
actually yeah that it's a great gift. It's like oh crap, like stuff that I normally wouldn't eat that still tastes super good. Heck yeah. So here's something off topic. So there's been this TV show that I totally binge watched on Netflix is The
You might
100.
know this.
Did I tell you that? Uh,
No, but I'm intrigued.
it's it's post apocalyptic. It starts off with um a community.
I'm adding the leftover vinegar. Sorry, I'm adding the leftover vinegar and soy sauce marinade from the steak in. And I'm going to actually add just a dash more of the vinegar. It's not quite as much juice as I want. And a dash or two of the soy sauce.
Now, what was the color before you added the soy sauce? Was the sauce kind of brown or what did it look like?
It has a bit of a brown from the bits from cooking the steak and the onions off the pan. So as we're scraping this up, we are getting a nice brown color coming up.
Mm.
So right now with the vinegar, we're going to cook this down a little bit, start getting some more juice out of the tomato, and I'm going to scrape up the bottom of this pan, getting a lot of the flavor off the bottom of the pan.
Yeah, I got to get those burnt pieces. Those that adds extra flavor.
Actually, we're going to bring my heat down a lot now. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of. That's going to be terrible. Yeah, a little habanero. It's going to be.
Hey, that was a lot of habanero.
No, it's too late. It's in there now. I can't take it out. I don't think it was that much. This is going to be hot. Nah, it'll be fine.
if your eyes start to burn as you're cooking it, it might have a little bit more heat than usual.
It's not going to be. We'll know what happens as soon. So. All right. So we are good here. I'm going to add our steak back in. I'm going to hit this with about a tablespoon of cilantro. All right, we're going to take this off the heat for right now. This pan is going to hold a ton of heat anyways, just because of its cast iron. We have a few more minutes on our papas.
You're just gonna let that you're just gonna let that rest right now as the
I'm
other
just going to
stuff.
let it rest because we're going to add the papas. Papas are going to be fully cooked through. We're just going to throw them in. We're going to toss them. A little bit of the juice will soak in, and that'll be that. So I'll show it to you what it looks like right now. It's currently what our Lomo Saltado looks like right there.
Otras personas hablar en español. ¿Tú tienes preguntas con manera para cocinar de esta comida? Uh, por favor, pregunta las preguntas o o tiene otra comentos con las situaciones con la comida, dice tu interesa en otra cosa. So I was just saying that, if there's any Spanish speakers,
Yeah,
feel free to ask them
nosotros.
questions.
All right, that is scorching hot, but those potatoes are done. Woo!
Will that destroy your mouth? No, will that burn my mouth? It will it will destroy your mouth.
What? Did you watch me eat that potato right out of the oven? Yeah, don't. That was hot. Don't do that. But I had to test it because I.
Okay, so this is interesting. So you're adding the papas in the mix.
Right in. So that's going to be about. I had a little over a pound of the papas, so I'm only going to add a pound of them. So it's about 2/3 of what I had there.
Yeah, I'll be curious. I'll be curious to see the difference with using the yam because like potatoes are not sweet, so and you added the habanero. So that itself too is gonna make,
It all sets.
when you have steam blowing out of your ears, we'll know it's super spicy.
I'm just trying to gauge about, because I'm trying to keep it pretty even. We can put a few more pop-ups in. All right, so that's mixed. We're gonna let this rest and just let it kind of soak into the papas a little bit. So I'm gonna do a quick cleanup. Then we're gonna plate and see what this looks like.
So while you're doing a little bit of cleanup, could you just kind of give a recap of the kind of the prep work before we started filming, just so people
Yeah, of
know?
course. So I had a couple of the Japanese sweet potatoes. That's what a little guy looks like. I get them at the usual place. They sell them at Whole Foods. I love them. You can bake them like a regular sweet potato in the oven. They come out amazing, sliced in half with just a little bit of butter and salt on them. They're delicious. Cut them in wedges, cube them, whatever you want. They're great. I never really made any mashed out of them. You could. It's kind of strange. It's like a sweet mashed thing. Not really my style. I'd rather keep them in the wedges and other stuff. So I'd wash those and I'd slice them up into little wedges here, little oil, little salt, vinegar. We ended up roasting them in the oven for about 40 minutes, about 20 minutes each side. I had also taken about a pound of steak tips, sirloin steak, and I had cut it up into like stir-fry strips. Added about a quarter cup of the vinegar, a couple dashes of the soy sauce, let that marinate, let some of the flavor get into the meat itself. Chopped up clove to a garlic. We wanted about a tablespoon or so of garlic added in there. We had a little bit of prep work for the cilantro, chopping up the cilantro, slicing up a couple of tomatoes. I didn't peel them or take the seeds out. Obviously, a little more work if you peel them and take the seeds out, which you could do as well. Chopped up the habanero, and that's it. So really, we just had a little bit of chopping and a little bit of prep work to get the meat marinated. Meat marinated for like 30 minutes. That's more than enough time. With the vinegar and the fact that we're not dealing with like a thick piece of steak. These are already cut into, like the stir-fry strips. So it'll get through that a lot easier. And that was it. And it looks like, what is it, 6:49 with, joking around. So all in all, if you time it pretty well, I'd say with roasting the potatoes yourself. So not even doing pre-made French fries, doing the potatoes yourself, roasting them, or you could have done them on the stovetop. You can do everything in the whole meal in less than an hour. Pretty easy. All right. Actually, this one's terrible.
Right. This is very curious. Very curious.
I'm only scooping out a small bit. I'm not starving right now, so I don't really. Little finished cilantro. All right. Lomo Saltado. Homemade.
That looks really good.
All right, the check. How hot did this actually come out?
Well, the interesting thing too is that habaneros, like the heat picks up like much later. It's not like wasabi. It's it'll happen like over time.
That looks like a ton of. Let's see. Where are you going?
You got to put them off to the side.
No, you can't. They're tiny. All right. We'll get a little tomato.
And I feel like tomato would be kind of like an optional dish or optional ingredient for the dish.
No, it's not spicy. It's good. It's good. That's a little different with the sweetness from the Japanese yams.
Interesting.
It is a little different doing it with that.
Like in a good way or a bad way?
In a good way. In just like a different good way. Makes a little bit overall of a sweeter dish. And when you're talking about a sweeter dish, not with sugar or anything. So I would say if you're doing that, you could actually maybe kick the heat up a little bit and get kind of that contrast with the sweet from the potato, from the Japanese yam. And then the habanero. All right, that bite, actually, that had a little more habanero on it. That one was a little spicier with just the meat. That one was, but it's not crazy. So like for that size dish, a quarter to like, for me, a quarter to like a half of a habanero would be plenty, so that you get a little bit of zest and you get the flavor. Because this isn't, Lomo Saltado is not a spicy dish at all. It's meant, that spice is meant to be there for flavor, which is what that ají amarillo, the yellow chile, is for. No, that's good. A lot of different flavors. The tomatoes, the onions, a little bit of heat there, sweetness from the potato. Yeah, that's my dinner for the next couple of days. That's not bad.
All right, Lomo Saltado. Now, if you guys have any questions in regards to, how we made that, or like I said, if you guys have experience with making Lomo Saltado, I'm guessing too that you can also, do this with chicken. You can do this with other types of meat, maybe even.
You can do it with anything. Yeah, they had that was another staple. They had the lomo and the pollo saltado, both of them.
Yeah.
You usually get each one.
Again, typically served with rice.
Rice and salad, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much standard.
I was thinking too the potatoes, because it's not sweet. I'm guessing it probably like absorb more of the flavor differently because it's more of a neutral, like a neutral carb, I guess.
It's really neutral. Yeah. Just adds a little bit to it.
Yeah, that's very.
I like it. This is not bad.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting, and also too because because the way you caramelize the onions, I'm guessing too that kind of makes it a little bit sweeter as well, or changes the flavor a little bit because it's not like a not like a quick roast of the onions, but kind of a, makes them softer so it has less pop and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the little extra heat and then the cilantro is actually really offsetting it with the garlic too.
Yeah.
So you have a fair bit of flavors going on in this. So what's the plan? When you're landing, quarantine, where else did you have on your list that you were trying to go this year? Well, I know we were supposed to go to Colombia.
Well, the whole thing was, well, the original plan, when I was gonna do a full South American tour. So I was gonna, hit up Brazil, um, hit up Bolivia, even, Chile, Argentina, because I actually have a few friends out there. So it was one of those, things. I'm like, all right, cool. I can stay at a place for a few months, get on to the next place, stay for a few months. And ever since the whole quarantine thing, it's just been just,
Done.
yeah, it's been done. It's like, can't do it. It's very depressing.
So I mean, you're the one. I mean, if anybody doesn't know, like Phil's the one that inspired me to start doing a fair bit more of the traveling. So he's definitely been my number one push for going and trying it.
But tell me not though. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, right? Like the experience in Peru, even though, because keep in mind, it wasn't just like a straight vacation thing. Like there were times it's just Cruz and I were just hanging out. We hung out at the apartment. We spoke with the with Emma, the owner, and just hung out. And it was cool. But I was telling Cruz also. It's like, no, I have a normal schedule. Like typically I do a Monday through Friday. I try to keep like a 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, and I get all my things done during the day. But then after that, I go do stuff. So it's not like a routine changes, unless you want it to. Um, and if and the thing is, he's got that he's got that opportunity to be remote. It's like you get that chance to do it. It's like it's
well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be working.
yeah. So it's
The same thing. Like, yeah, I'll be gone, but I mean, I'm still going to be doing a regular 8 to 5, 9 to 6, or whatever. Maybe slightly adjusted depending where I am, depending on the times and stuff. Schedule, like that's just going to be the standard, and then go out at night or try and do stuff on the weekends. Maybe take a vacation day or something and go, for a long weekend or something along those lines. But it's going to be kind of be business as usual, but just experiencing different places. So it's a vacation. I don't know. It is a vacation, sort of, but not really. I don't know. It's going to be more of an adventure, just going to get and like live and see places and meet people there and stuff. So
yeah. And the cool thing is, the thing that I like about it, the and why I promote the whole remote travel thing, or being able to work remotely, is you're really, the truth of the matter is there's actually not that much difference in the world as far as how people's lives are, other than it's a different place. The unique thing is the different culture. Whether it's in the U.S. or out in Ecuador or Peru, like for instance, like our tour guide, right? He's This is what he does 5 days a week. He's a tour guide. He has to party at the end of the week during the tour. Like that's his work week, you know.
yeah,
And sometimes if you're in your own hometown, it might be a little bit more difficult to experience or uh, talk with people that are kind of in that different. Their schedules themselves are not that different, uh, relatively, but their lifestyle, like everyone's got to eat, everyone needs a place to stay. But just having that access of getting a different perspective is really, to me, is one of the most rewarding things about travel that I absolutely enjoy. But also identified like how similar places are, around the world. Or people generally want to live good lives. They want to be happy and things like that. Um, and and people are really nice, like just overall across the world. It's really the cultures is what is distinct what distinguishes to me you know different places and things like that. It's um, there might be like here it's like the manana kind of culture in Ecuador. It's
Yeah.
always been like a interesting concept, and for me, like I have a better interpretation of it for myself to be like, oh, okay, manana. People think it's wait till tomorrow, but it's actually just a more uh, tranquilo, more relaxed way of living, which is a nice reprieve for me because despite what it seems like, I'm not a very relaxed person. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Just different.
yeah. And well, the thing is, it's like you were saying before, like you don't know if you're gonna like it. You might hate it, or you might love it. Who knows? Um,
I don't know.
but the good thing is, you're gonna. I mean, it's always a good test run, like doing the U.S. thing. I mean, are you still nervous about Denver?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's wearing off a little bit. Um, I got a few things. So this upcoming weekend will be a little bit busy because basically have like 2 weekends and then I fly out that next weekend after that. So I have during the week. I'll try and get some stuff done, but this weekend and then the 4th of July weekend,
Mm.
like I got to square away like little stuff. And it's honestly, that's not even stuff that actually really matters. I'm just gonna like there's some stuff I've been meaning to get rid of around the house and everything that I'm gonna try and get done and get that tossed. Would it actually matter? No, I would just close the door and it would still be here when I got back.
Mm.
It's not gonna change anything. It's not like I'm talking about like throwing out garbage. It's like an old flat screen TV I've been meaning to like dump and get rid of, like stupid stuff. Um, Try and square that up, and that's about it. And then go. I got to hit the button on the hostel that I want to stay at. Now that it's closer and it looks a lot more settled. And actually, Hostel World is giving like even on like the reserved ones right now, they're giving like free cancellation in case anything comes up, as long as it's like 24 hours before in advance. They don't care, so that's pretty good. So I'll hit that and that'll be it. I mean, I'll definitely, unless something crazy would have happened, I'll definitely be out there for at least 2 weeks because that will be the stay that I book for the first go.
Mm.
Only because they do 4-day bookings at the most, right off the bat. So then I'll do that, and then I would probably want to jump to another one. There's actually another one out there that actually looks kind of fun, pretty cool. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll see you. I mean, oh yeah, you'll be quarantined.
Well, I mean, if you're okay
I
meeting
mean,
up,
I'm probably gonna swing by. I'm probably gonna see you. So it's not, And then yeah, I don't know. And then like once international opened back up, and so I was okay with stuff. Everything went well. Like, international opens back up. Like where do I go? Like the South America was unbelievable. So I want to go and continue on that one. Like this Colombia like is a mandatory. Like I want to get there for that trip and everything. And then the other place that was huge on my list was going to Chile. Obviously, Brazil would be fun. Brazil, just to go there and everything, but it's not like it's not big on the list. But Chile, I would definitely want to get down there. Trying to get down to that southern tip, the farthest southern point, excluding Antarctica. That would be unbelievable.
Oh yeah, no,
So
like I said, I'm keeping my finger on the pulse as far as the whole international travel thing. I know Sophia's been asking me about it as well. Um,
what you're
so
going to be doing, where you're going to be going, the whole everything, of
yeah, I
course.
mean, like I said, like the the whole quarantine thing, it just threw everything off. You know,
Yeah,
life was good. Life was good before the whole quarantine. I mean, life is still good, but it's just like
it is.
it really tossed every possible thing that I want to do. And I'm being selfish about it. Like, oh, hey, things were fine, and then now it's like, oh, now I got to reevaluate. Uh, this grandiose plan of like traveling everywhere, where I
Sure.
just have to adjust. It is what it is. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll chat when you're back. We'll chat off camera when you're back. See what's going on. See when you're back home. We'll figure out like once stuff opens, what's going on, what the deal is.
Yeah.
Going to assume some of the, as long as that stuff stays good for me, I'm assuming some of our stretches will line up.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
And
mean, we talked about it before. Like the whole travel to the U.S. thing, and a lot of it too is just gauging, how you feel about being on the road. To me, that's the most important thing.
yeah,
I know for me, like I like traveling, so it's to me that's where I feel the most normal. But for you, it's you're gonna be the interesting thing is when we start doing the live shows and you're on the road, that's gonna be it's gonna be completely different. So
yeah, just watching me. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna put up. We gonna? Would you want to? Are we gonna set up? We can talk. I don't care. We just leave it going. I don't care. Are we gonna do? Should we be setting up an Instagram and different stuff? Do we want to put one of those out?
I think right now is because I'm still working on some of the automation stuff for like the emails and there's like a second phase. I probably shouldn't. It doesn't. There's a second phase in.
It's not what. There's no big secret between people. Like what's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
like.
Okay. So I do the okay. So for the people out there that have not seen my face on the camera, I do the production side of things. So I host the show on my computer, and they plug in through like Cruz and Randall plug in through Google Meet. But I also handle kind of the marketing aspect of it, where I have an automated email system that I created. It's not fully automated, but it's automated. Um, and today I was in between kind of all the meetings I had. I was testing out the or investigating another area of automating the process a lot faster. So uh, there's a little bit of code involved, a little bit of scraping on a website, stuff like that, but nothing that really anyone has to know on the video. But that's what's going on with that. Um, so
And then some of the other things. I mean, we can talk when you're back. Some of the other things like traveling. Would you want me to take like? You want to do like little small videos, and I can send them to you if we want clips. If you want to do clips of stuff to be able to put stuff together.
yeah, so the normal flow of the production is this is every Monday is part of the season, and then I'm actually going to be uploading videos myself of the previous cooking stuff. And I'm still in the process of uploading all the other videos that we did because there's a lot of videos that we did offline, um, and I'm still kind of questioning if I should post those because they're food related, but they were more in the instance of like talking about building a restaurant brand. But obviously times are changing, so we're evolving with the process itself. But those are out there too, and there's actually more kind of technical stuff.
It's not a great time to open a restaurant. You don't want to do that right
Yeah, yeah.
now.
So we're evaluating that, but that piece of content I have years worth of like short video clips. But yeah, the whole thing is you send me some videos and I post it up. There's gonna be like no editing, kind of like behind the scenes raw. I mean, the videos right now are fairly raw, but as we continue onward, we're looking to improve the production quality and things like that. So, um,
Yeah, we both talked about, and I mean, this is probably one of the more difficult things to do live is to do
oh yeah,
like a live cooking show. Like I don't know. You
yeah.
probably pick the most difficult production thing to put up.
Well,
Like,
no, it's well, the tough part is being like, so I'm doing the production, but it's difficult for someone who's cooking, filming themselves and all that stuff.
Oh, it would be different if you were here with me,
Yeah,
like
yeah, like it'd be,
videoing it or something. Yeah. No, no, no. I'm videoing it while he's doing the production over there for a live cooking show. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So obviously there's going to be a little bit of degradation of the video quality and things like that. Because we have to use a secure line. We use Google Meet, but the picture itself is actually zoomed in a little bit, so it doesn't retain some of the quality on top of like whatever camera that he uses. But the bandwidth is actually fairly decent. It's just the cameras themselves are can be a bottleneck. And then again, over here they change the server.
ISP, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's um, I'm not happy nor mad about it or anything like that. But I
Just
don't
changed.
it's changed. I'm not sure long term wise, how reliable it is.
But yeah, so if you're trying to like do anything or whatever, don't pick this as your first go. Pick something else easier to fill, unless the person's here about with you.
Well, I think we've definitely like at least for me on the production side, I got a very good workflow that speeds the process up um, fairly quickly. But the tough thing for me is um, like keeping the topics going for weeks on end, and the later in the week that I get it, the tougher it is to get it out there. So um, because even though the email thing is automated, I still have to wait. Like I have to wait. I have to physically wait so I can do other stuff. Obviously, um, I have it running in the background, but I still have to wait like an hour or an hour
While
and
it's
a half.
running.
Yeah, because um, I mean you would know this. It's a JavaScript delay, so it's a 5 second delay between email. If anyone, I mean, don't worry, guys. I'll be open sourcing that code so you guys can see it's not that complicated. But yeah, so that's that whole thing with that. But I think, like I said, moving forward, um, with you traveling, I think it's going to add that new dynamic. Use your phone, by the way. Use your phone
Yeah, it's
for
all going to be
video.
coming. It's going to be. I mean, it'll be different style. It'll be still the same stuff. It'll be different style episodes and a little bit and everything. It'll be interesting. But yeah, it's going to be my phone. Well, I'm probably gonna just stop. You're probably gonna get like tons of random clips, and you can pick what to show and stuff. But I'll probably just be testing it, like, oh, whatever. Here's me on the plane. I'm just practicing recording myself with my phone.
Yeah, and I think that might be for like the quick snippets, like for Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, um, that type of stuff. Or you can start your own Instagram. I haven't started an Instagram for the Waypoint Cafe because I just post stuff on my own Instagram, but I haven't posted any food stuff itself on Instagram um, because right now it's just Facebook, uh, Facebook and email is the only source of outreach. Oh, and LinkedIn.
Yeah, I might set up my own just for like my own personal documentary. We'll link them together.
Yeah,
Uh, just to see as it goes along and everything. Be interesting. Be
yeah,
fun.
yeah. I think this is a really good thing just for people to see. I mean, he's embarking on a journey, and it's new for him. So you're gonna get like real time feedback on how he feels and stuff like that, which would otherwise not be available. Like for me, it's more post mortem. Like, oh, I know what I felt like a year ago, but to look back at it now, I have a different interpretation or a different perspective. Whereas with you, it's like you're in the thick of what's going on, and I think that's very interesting because like, oh, I've been doing it for a year. He's going to be jumping into it, and again, we don't know what to expect. He doesn't know what to expect with with how he likes it or not. and that's the thing. It's like you never know. You never know until you try it out, and then
Now it's a bit of a crazy time too,
yeah,
obviously.
and it's a crazy time, so it adds a whole other dynamic to it. And then, um, but I know that people are out there. They're still interested in traveling, stuff like that. I think just the general scare
I think
when the quarantine
people are
started.
dying.
Yeah,
I mean, people obviously they're, you're gonna, stay safe and everything, but I think people are dying to go. I mean,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, let's be realistic here. If you're cooped up in the apartment or the house for 2 or 3 months, and you
yeah,
haven't come in contact with people in a long time, it's like you're gonna get ants in your pants. Like everyone's gonna just feel like they're gonna go crazy if they just stay in one place. So that's what it is. But yeah, guys, stick around for the journey that Cruz and I are going to be going on. You'll probably see us at some point in the same picture frame when we're doing these videos in the near future. So that will be an
uh,
exciting itself.
the fall will get interesting. The fall, the fall,
So we'll we'll
the
we'll,
fall's gonna be fun.
we'll figure it out. But like I said, come around, come along for the ride. See what it's about, and we're adapting to whatever changes and stuff like that is going to be going on. So in that way, it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. Like I said, you get two different perspectives on this stuff. And if you have questions about things that are not food related, feel free to ask, even if they are a little bit sensitive. You're not going to.
Yeah, I mean, try and keep definitely with the Monday schedule and stuff. But some of the topics, if going out and about might change a little bit. It might do a little more on some stocks, maybe some stuff on movies, reading, what's going on, what's going on, stuff that we see where we are, or stuff that I see where I am that I find kind of, different and interesting. It might be stuff just about a different like location, someplace that you've never been that you will put up and talk about and see and everything. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be kind of whatever comes up along the way.
Yeah. So I think that's a good time to close. Hey, thank you guys for joining us here. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, you guys get a chance to try that Lomo Saltado. I think with the habaneros, that's a nice little touch to that dish over there. So, Cruz, you have any closing comments?
That was actually a little bit easier than I expected. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, a little back and forth. But I looked at it, I was like, it was pretty straightforward. But getting the flavor and everything, that was pretty spot on, excluding obviously the change with the habaneros. But I was actually okay with it. Actually came out, and just if you do the habaneros, less is more. Less is more. You can always add a little bit. Very tough to take it out. You don't kill yourself. But besides that, no. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you guys very much, and see you next week.
Yeah, swipe up and subscribe. It's lovely.
Yes, lovely.